Thank you very much, Dr. Cynthia Llanes. At sa ating pong mga panauhin ngayon, sa lahat po ng ating mga taga-TIP, sa lahat po ng ating mga estudyante, sa inyo pong lahat, mga taga-media, ang ating pong mga kasamahan po sa pag-aalaga ng ating kalikasan, lalo-lalo na po sa kritikal natin ng Laguna Lake Basin at ecosystem, isa pong kaaya-aya at makakalikasan lugtiang pagbati po sa ating lahat. Good morning! I am very sorry that there was a mix-up in the invitation. I was first told that someone already would take my place, and because I had another function in Malacanang, but in the end it worked out that I could be with all of you this morning. And I have also with us our LLDA team, those dealing with fisheries and shoreland issues, as well as community development. And so I am very honored to be here this morning, and I thank you for this invitation on behalf of the Office of the President, where I serve as the Presidential Advisor for Environmental Protection with a concurrent responsibility to head and manage the very ecologically challenged Laguna Lake Basin. I give you and convey to you greetings as well on behalf of the President of the Philippines. And we're all very tied up and very concerned, obviously, and very busy with what's happening in Mindanao. But our challenges on ecology, climate change, adaptation, issues like fish and fisheries, especially for Metro Manila and Calabar Zone, continue. The challenges continue to face us every day. And so I am here just to give you an overview of what it is that we must really be not only aware about, but fully attending to. Because what is at stake is not just fisheries per se, and though I understand that the TIP is very concerned, and you have won the DOST Outstanding Student Creative Research Award for the kind of research, innovations, and initiatives that you've done in seeking the solutions to addressing the invasive species of knifefish in the most critical lake ecosystem in the Philippines, the Laguna Lake Basin. Still in all, I would like to situate this in the context of the larger ecosystem. And so the question that you propound, which is Laguna Lake in peril from the knifefish? The simple answer is yes, any invasive species imperils a natural biodiversity of an ecosystem. And remember that Laguna Lake is not just 100-some-thousand hectares of surface water. It is also inclusive of 500,000 hectares of watersheds and forests, 24 major river basins, 100+ tributaries, 65 local government units, settlements, shoreland, fisheries. The whole lake basin is, in fact, host to the capital city of Metro Manila, to the provinces of Rizal, Cavite, and many other parts of Batangas, Laguna, Rizal, Quezon, Calabar Zone. And this is, in fact, the entire region where over 50% of our gross domestic product is generated, where 25% of our population live. That's 25 million. And in Metro Manila alone, it's 50 million. And all of us, and all of this, what we call the Laguna Lake Basin, constitutes only around less than 5% of the land area of the whole country. but 25% of the population is here. And so I begin with the map showing that, and you will see, before we zero in on knife fish per se as one of the key challenges that manifest an ecological imbalance, let me situate you first with that basic. Can I have my pointer, please? Right. The red outline is the 500,000 hectares. It encompasses, wait. It encompasses the lower Sierra Madre, the Pagsanhan-Lumban watershed, San Cristobal, Banahaw, Makiling. This is Metro Manila, and this is Marikina watershed. This is Cavite, this is Bulacan, towards Pampanga. This is all of Laguna, Rizal, Quezon, and so this is the very area of the country critically challenged in terms of all of the factors of fisheries. These are fish vents. This is the urban development, all the way here towards Cabuyao, Santa Rosa, Binyan, Los Baños, Calamba, and upwards here of Antipolo, Cainta, Montalban, Rodriguez. You get the picture. I'm showing you this map because, first of all, this area here of the National Capital Region is 65,000 hectares. If you carve out this area, you can fit it into the west side of the lake. That is how small Metro Manila is, and that is how big the lake is. You can fit Singapore into the Laguna Lake, and you can fit Metro Manila into the west side of the lake. And the Metro Manila region, the greater Metro Manila, straddles Manila Bay to the west and the Laguna Lake to the east. If you ask us what does this have to do with knife fish, I will have to say that the knife fish as an invasive species is in fact a function of the changing and conflicting not only water, but land, settlements, industries, and all other developments in the Laguna Lake Basin. Can you give me the map of the flood hazards? This is the flooding that occurred, aggregate Ondoy, Pepeng, Hamagat, and recently, if you add Marin, which was 2 weeks ago, the whole red area already now covers Binyan, Santa Rosa, Cabuyao, and San Pedro. The lake is on average only 3 meters, 2.5 to 3 meters deep. In the 1980s, it was more than 10 or 12 meters. The continued deforestation of our watersheds and forests cause massive siltation in our rivers and fill up the lake up to even 16 to 17 meters in parts of silt. Okay? Now, para siyang palanggana, kapag umuulan, umaapaw. Kung climate change, sea level rise naman, umaapaw din ang Manila Bay. Saan pupunta ang tubig kung hindi dito sa Metro Manila, lalong-lalo na sa low-lying areas ng Camanava, Caloocan, Malabon, Navotas, Valenzuela, at dito sa buong stretch ng National Capital Region, Manila, Taguig, Parañaque, Muntinlupa, Pasig, Taytay, and all around. Now, in Ondoy, we saw a proliferation, and this is validated by the BIFAR, a proliferation of the knife fish. Because obviously, as an ornamental fish, not endemic to the Philippines, the kind of flooding that occurred would naturally bring into the lake all sorts of things, not just basura, but invasive species. And over time, you have janitor fish, knife fish, and you have snapping turtles and others. But this has to be situated in terms, again, understood in terms of the larger ecosystem. Bakit may mga invasive species na ngayon sa lake? Hindi lang dahil may nakakapasok na mga hindi indigenous o katutubo o likas sa lawa ng Laguna, kung hindi dahil po sa lahat ng mga nangyayaring pagbabago at pag-iiba ng anyo, ng paggamit, ng lupain, ng tubig, ng mga forest, ng mga ilog. So the entire ecosystem, in fact, is already put off balance. And knife fish is simply one of the clearest manifestations of that imbalance. So you will see, therefore, that this is the deteriorating water quality that we see now. This is my ecology little lecture, but you know this. We don't have to go through them. These are just our recent, can we show the knife fish? Well, we've done this. Okay. We've been closing, what have you done? I think a virus is invasive also for our technology. Can you show the knife fish slides? I'm just telling you, it's going to be very difficult to address knife fish. And I salute you. I salute and we thank the LLDA, thanks all of you who are working on this. Those of you in engineering courses, those of you who are training to become environmental scientists, those of you who are working with BIFAR, those of you who helped us in our big knife fish forum in Taguig University last April to get the interagency initiatives that our speaker earlier, Dr. Palma, told us about in her presentation. But over and beyond that, the challenge is for us to realize that knife fish and addressing the invasive species of knife fish may help us address food security, because 50% of our bangus in Calabarzon and Metro Manila comes from the lake. And so syempre po, kapag natatanggal natin ang knife fish, mas magiging hindi nakakapanganib ang ating sitwasyon sa pagkain because of the supply of protein from fish. That is our main source of protein as Filipinos. Mahal po ang karne. But more than that, over and beyond that, even if we address knife fish, at ipagpalagay na po natin na na-address na natin yung knife fish. By the way, I just went to Predil in Binangonan some weeks back, and the average harvest now is 50-50. Yung isang harvest, 50% na po ang knife fish, 50% ang bangus at ibang species. Because the knife fish, 1:8, this is validated by BIFAR. Ibig sabihin, they grow that big, and 1:8 siya. Bago magkaroon ng 1 kilo na knife fish, na timbang, kumain na siya ng 8 kilo bangus. So yung 10 kilos na yan, o kung lalaki man siya ng ganyan, kalaki, ng 10 kilos, ibig sabihin, nakakain na po yan, dahil predator na siya, nakakain na siya ng 80 kilos na bangus. And other fingerlings and other, which could have grown to be your fish on your table, and for the fisher folk. So that is opportunity lost for income and livelihood. But you see, I tell you this because it's not just what we see as manifested by the situation of an invasive species like this. Because kahit na ipagpalagay natin, maisaayos natin ito sa bioacoustics or sa ating pong pag-harvest kasi nakakabit lang siya sa, it sticks, dumidikit siya sa yung eggs niya sa mga poles, sa mga anak. Kahit tanggalin natin na natanggalin, at gagawin natin yan, at only ginagawa natin yan, not just with BIFAR and TESDA, but with the DSWD on the work for, what is it? Cash for Work program. Kahit na nandyan na yan. Pero kung hindi na isaayos natin yung sitwasyon na ipinakita ko kanina sa inyo, yung mapa na buong Laguna Lake Basin, yun na po ang sasabihin natin, you are looking at the trees, but not the forest. We may fix a few trees for fisheries, but what are we doing to really address the larger forest of degradation, denudation of our forests, siltation, informal settlers, shoreland depletion, industries, water pollution, informal settlements of 500,000 families around the Lake region in Metro Manila, and the very human security of 25 million Filipinos in this whole region. That is the bigger challenge. And so while we rightfully speak about biosecurity and food security, we must situate all these issues. And this is where the work as Presidential Advisor for Environmental Protection comes in. We must speak about these issues and work and build on our researches and our studies and our initiatives in the different agencies of government. We must build on these because the larger challenge is human security in the day and age of climate change. Kaya po, maganda ang teknolohiya na naipapakita niyo po yung mga nagiging nexus o tinatawag ninyong intersection ng mathematics, ng engineering, at ng environmental science. Hanga po kami at I look forward to many more of these interactions. But I'm not the scientist, I'm not the engineer. I am the public policy guy who will also have to help vet your work within the larger challenge of climate change and climate change adaptation. So I will offer this simply as a first engagement with TIP. And if you could present this and all your other initiatives here and in the near future in the Cabinet Cluster on Environment and Climate Change, and specifically with the LLDA, we would be very honored and we would be very much educated by your work and your initiatives here in TIP and in other institutes. But I would like to say, still and all, that the highest form, in effect, of security, even as we face China and Panatag Shoal, or our problems now in Zamboanga and Mindanao, or the problems that we face with defending our borders and peace and order, in fact, in our communities all over the country, the highest form still of security is ecological. It is ecological security that gives rise to human security. And human security encompasses fisheries and food security, water security, energy security. Pero kung wala po ang kalikasan, kung wala na po ang ating mga kagubatan, wala na rin po ang ating watershed. Kung wala na rin ang watershed, wala na rin po ang ilog at ang tubig. Kung wala na po ang ilog at tubig, wala na rin po palayan. At kung wala yung palayan, wala na rin po ang pagkain. In the same manner with fish, kung wala na po yung balancing ng ecosystem, eto at eto mangyayari sa ating mga lawa at sa ating mga ilog. Hindi natin makain ang lahat ng invasive species. Nakakain natin ang knifefish, patis, fishball, pero hindi po yun ang nakakisna natin. And so in effect, what is this all telling us? It's telling us we are all in peril. So if I may end with this question that has to be retweaked, it is not that is Laguna Lake in peril from knife fish. Are we all in peril because of not just knife fish, but an overall degraded natural ecosystem that we all have to depend on for our sustenance and life support systems. No forests, no watersheds. No watersheds, no water. No water, no rice. No rice, no food. No food, no economy. And the same with energy. No water, no energy. No electricity, no economy. And the same with the lake. No forests, no rivers, watersheds, water. No bangus, no ayungin, no bia, no kantuli, which are the biodiversity mix of species of the lake, which are getting not only threatened, but some of these are extinct. And we don't want to wake up one morning and we realize we will have nothing on the lake but silt and knifefish and snapping turtles, because these are the species that thrive on the degradation and imbalance of what used to be one of the richest ecosystems in the whole world, the Laguna Lake Basin. This is the only ecosystem, bar none, that mixes salt water with a freshwater body of water because of the Pasig River. Kaya may tubig ala, and it ionizes the river, the lake water, which creates for more dissolved oxygen and therefore bigger fish. But that was during the days in the 80s of the latest, or the most recent, where there was a cycle. Kung high tide, papasok yung Laguna at yung Manila Bay na tubig ala sa lake. Kung low tide, merong lalabas at lagusan ng lake ang Pasig River. So there was this exchange, and it created the richest mix of aquatic and fisheries life on this biggest lake in the country and the third largest in Asia. But now, Pasig River is very silted. Laguna Lake is higher than Manila Bay. It's harder to get salt water into the lake. The lake is more shallow now, as I said earlier, and it continues to have more silt. And so therefore, it has not restored that balance of different species of fish anymore. So, are we in peril? Are we in peril? Not just because of knifefish. Are we in peril because of our own ways? The way we have degraded the lake by our own doing. Basura, baha, deforestation, kung ano-ano na lang itinatapon, ginagawang septic tank, ang what used to be one of the most beautiful lakes in the world. We were made one of the 18 living lakes of the world. So the challenge is for Pinoy, for all government officials, for all of you, all of us, and citizens of this earth and this country, looking into the future, what should we do? What should we do beyond just recycling and making sure we manage our little communities and make sure our households, sort our wastes? What should we do in LLDA? What should we do in BIFAR? Yes, we have research. Yes, we have enforcement. Yes, nagpapasara kami ng mga iba't ibang establishment na ang tinatapon sa lawa o sa mga ilog ay nakakalason sa ating mga isda. Yes, we're doing all of this, but we need your awareness and your consciousness, because only then will we get science into policy making. And when policy making is grounded in the science that you do, in the research that you do, then we are able to find the more enduring solutions to the challenges posed by ecological imbalances and climate change impacts. As a last word here, we are the most vulnerable. If you read page 6 of the Inquirer today, Manila was named the second most disaster risk-prone metropolitan area in the world, next to Kobe and Fukuoka in Japan. We have a concentration of risk here in this metropolis because we are the most densely populated place on earth. Did you know that? The highest density of population is in Metro Manila, and the city of Manila has the highest, 66,000 people per square kilometer. So isang Montoy at isang Pepeng o isang Marinla, ganon kaagad, kadami ang naapektuhan at napipinsala. Kaya po, there's a lot to piece together, and the challenge is to ensure knife fish plus all other challenges, we will be able to see the bigger picture, the bigger forest, or for this matter, the bigger lake. That is what we must take as our perspective. That is the larger lens and framing that I think all of us, not just in TIP, but all schools and all youth of this country must embrace and take to heart. We're running out of time, but we still can do many of the things that was presented earlier and many of the initiatives that you've already taken. And I'd like to end with this. Knife fish, whether you are going to be licked as a problem in the next year or two, we still have the other challenges we need to also fix and address. Because the righteous straight path, yung tuwid na daan ni Pangulong Pinoy, hindi lang po yan ang tinutukoy ang pork barrel at ang Napoles at ang anti-corruption. Sa totoo lang po, ang tuwid na daan ay nagmumula sa lumpiang paraan. Because if you cannot balance your ecology, there is no economy to speak of. And there are no resources to manage anymore. So ecological security is the highest form of national security. So I thank you for this challenge that you have brought to this forum. I just look forward to many of the things that we can all do together. Tungo po sa tuwid na daan sa lumpiang paraan. Maraming salamat po sa Good morning.